From steak to roller coasters and Botox to electric cars.
Oh, that's so fun!
Each week, we showcase the new Irish science behind an aspect of modern life. On tonight's show, we find out 10 things to know about virtual reality. I meet the team who are using virtual reality to question the veracity of 1916's famous Battle of Mount Street Bridge.
Oh, God.
Jonathan takes a ride on the world's first VR roller coaster. And Katrina tries her hand at virtual surgery.
Ah, look at that disgusting goo.
I'm here at Alton Towers to experience Galactica, the world's first virtual reality roller coaster. Oh my God. So we're in this space world with robots flying in front of me. Oh, that's cool. Okay, I'm heading towards what seems to be some sort of space portal. Oh, whoa, we're in space. Space rocks, asteroids. Ah, satellite! Ah, oh no! Ah. So I'm in a volcano of some sort. Lava everywhere. Oh my God. Feeling what I'm seeing, so it makes it really, really convincing. It's concerning! Jesus! Here we go. More space portal. Ah! I'm fine. I'm totally fine. It was fantastic, actually. I don't actually like roller coasters, which is probably why they made me do this. But it's amazing how they've mashed up the visuals with the sensation. I think I'm done now. Can I get off this thing, please?
I'm meeting Simon Reveley, one of the designers behind this very stimulating experience, to find out about the challenges of creating a virtual reality roller coaster.
A roller coaster has a very fixed pattern of movement, and it's always repeated. It's always the same because the track is a fixed track. And it occurred to me that the orientation follows a certain pattern. So if we could record that orientation, we could do it live and say, where are we on this track, based on the idea that we've just done a turn like this, and previously we'd done a turn like that. That must mean we are at this point on the track.
So
and that's how this system, it's maths, yeah, it's pure science. The interesting thing with VR is that we can ramp up and ramp down how fast it feels by changing the content. We thought that you had to have absolutely every exact movement and every exact speed element match one for one, and you actually don't. You can cheat things quite a lot in VR, as long as you match the changes. So we can take a turn on a corner and make it into a 360, even though it doesn't actually, it's not really a 360.
Right, okay.
But we can turn you a full 360 and you would never know. It's even the same with a corkscrew movement like you've just seen there. We can keep you going a little bit further because you detect the change of movement, but then we can roll you much further than you really move.
Oh, wow.
So there's huge creative potential there, not just in the visuals, but in how we use the movement. A lot of people, the first thing they do when they get a VR headset is they'll download a virtual roller coaster. And it's the worst thing you can do, really. But just because of something called the locomotion problem, which in VR means that if your body isn't doing what your brain tells you it's doing, i.e. the disconnect between what you see and what you feel, then that can make you feel really ill. We're very lucky we've got a real roller coaster, so it means your body can feel what your brain tells you you're seeing. And those two things marry up, and that means it shouldn't make you any more sick than a normal roller coaster would.
Virtual reality was promised to us for decades, and now it's finally come of age, delivering truly thrilling experiences. The possibilities are endless.
2016 was the year that virtual reality finally entered the mainstream. But at this stage, you might still be wondering, what exactly is it? And other than video games, what can it be used for? Well, the Irish Independent's Adrian Weckler is here to explain.
Virtual reality is basically the idea you're somewhere else or doing something else, and that's achieved by putting on a headset that tricks your eyes and your senses into making you think that you're somewhere completely different. This is an Oculus Rift, and what you're going to look at is a virtual reality simulation program for the Irish Defence Forces.
Oh, that's cool. I got my head outside an armoured vehicle. Trouble brewing, I fear. Whoa! Take this, pal.
You're shooting a bush.
Back off. You are transported there so easily. It's so easy to trick your brain.
There are a few reasons it has taken VR a while to enter the mainstream. The first is the pragmatic issues of what VR kit actually is. It's big, it's clunky, you have to plug it into a fast computer, you have to have space around you to use it. The other reason is a question of pure technology. So for example, when you move your head with a virtual reality headset on, the system has to match, has to do millions of computations at the same time. Finally, we're starting to see technology for under €1,000 that can achieve that.
What sort of industries will really benefit from using this sort of technology, do you think, Adrian?
In the property industry, for example, you have at least one real estate agent in Ireland, which now for some high-end properties will take clients into their showroom and show them around that particular property.
When I'm moving and I'm not moving, it does make me feel...
That's because it's nicer than your own house,
It's
right?
a lot nicer than my own house.
Education is another very, very big one. The medical industry with surgeons for training. Right up to and including the adult industry, for example. Most analysts suggest that within 5 years, adult VR is actually going to be a $1 billion industry.
We're such a pathetic species, aren't we?
We really are, yes. Yeah, we could be curing cancer. What this basically is a sandbox, and that means that you will have a number of objects around you. You can pick them up, you can fire them.
Air drawing. Oh, okay. So I can go around and draw. Oh, that's so cool. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? Oh, wow. That is so cool. You can throw fireballs. I'm such a child, but that is awesome. Burn! Burn! Childlike wonder is not something adults have very often, but I can totally see adults getting true sort of childlike joy out of doing something like this. Yes.
The Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland is developing several virtual reality applications to help train the medics of the future. Today, I'm being put through my paces to see if I missed my vocation as a doctor.
I'm meeting Sean Tierney, tutor and vascular surgeon, to find out.
Tell me how things have changed over the years in terms of surgical training.
Well, it's a few years since I trained, and I mean, at that time, much more of training was on the job. We learned how to do things by watching others do it, and then you did it for the first time in real patients. Because of the increasing complexity, because of our increasing awareness of risk to patients and reducing risk to patients, and because of the pressures of time, it's no longer acceptable to do that. So where things were relatively simple and relatively straightforward 20 years ago, the complexity now means that we just have to prepare people better for that environment, and we have to use the time we have in operating theatres more effectively.
The Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland is creating virtual reality applications to train the next generation of surgeons and doctors, as lead developer Donncha explains.
We started looking at the VR technology a little over a year ago and kind of saw some potential in it, and we've now tried to use it for two things. One is for kind of decision-based learning, where you're put in a scene, for example, the one where you're in the middle of an emergency situation and you have to make decisions on the fly. And the second use we're using it for is to actually film surgery, so we can use 360 cameras to kind of put you in the scene of the surgery.
And what is the advantage of having it as a virtual reality application then?
The first one is that you actually feel like you're there, you know, or you get the sense, you know, your body kind of gets tricked into thinking it's there to some extent.
You get the fight or flight response going.
Exactly.
I'm in an emergency.
The second one is, for example, if you're looking at anatomy, we have a demo where we're taking a look at the different systems in the body, and instead of just trying to look at it from the front on, you can kind of get right in around it, and you have a totally different way of navigating it.
Having heard the theory, it's time to put me to the test.
Okay, so we're going to try and do a laparoscopic cholecystectomy on our patient here. So this is what...
with such confidence. I have never been in an operating theatre before.
This will be no problem. Our virtual patient. So this is your gallbladder. This is what you're going to see inside, sitting up there under the liver.
Yeah.
And what you need to do is grasp this area here, and then we use the scissors in your right hand to just cut here behind this structure.
Okay.
And then we're going to open up a window there where we can safely remove the gallbladder.
Okay. Simple.
Now, can you see the operating theatre?
Yeah.
So there's your patient.
There's an anaesthetist.
That's the anaesthetist.
Wow.
Yeah, there's
Look,
the nurse
someone
over in the
taking
corner.
notes over there.
Yeah.
Ah, it's amazing.
And there's your patient. And there's the screen just above the patient that shows you what's happening inside in the abdomen.
Eventually, I got the hang of it. Well, almost.
And squeeze. Now,
Oh my God, it feels like I really did it. That's so weird.
Now just make a little snip there with your scissors in that surface.
Now, like that there?
Yeah, perfect. Excellent. You can hear
Oh,
your
and there's stuff
patient.
coming out of it.
That's just a little bit of fat. Stay up, don't go down too close. That's very dangerous. See the artery there? See that pink thing? Don't cut that.
No, I'm stabbing the liver. I'm
So it's not so easy.
It's really
So sometimes
hard.
you need to take a break.
It's so
Yeah,
hard.
yeah.
Oh dear,
That's
I
the
made
cystic artery.
him bleed.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, patient. Ah, look at that disgusting goo. Oh
no.
my God.
So what we've started to do now in some of the other simulations is if you make a mistake and the patient starts to bleed, that monitor will go faster.
Oh,
the anaesthetist will get all excited.
So there's consequences to the virtual reality experience as well.
Yeah.
Wow. It feels authentic. I feel like I'm performing surgery. I can hear the patient breathing. I can hear the monitor bleeping. There should be someone in the background going, "Stop her from performing this."
I've done enough damage. Now it's time for an expert to show us how it's done. Cuan Harrington is midway through his surgeon's training and also helped to develop these VR applications.
There was very good kind of feedback from the instruments, and the scenario was just brilliant. Having your trainer over your shoulder as well within this virtual environment is great because it kind of focuses your attention and makes sure that there isn't too many distractions for the environment.
It's perfect. Cystic artery.
So that's the bile duct.
That's cystic duct, cystic artery, and the gallbladder up here.
Very good. You're very neat.
Thank you.
So far, well, he's done one or two before. It's a bit like airliners. You know, if you get into a modern airliner to fly an airliner, it's exactly the same as a simulator. We can now recreate the operative environment more completely than we could before. You're not just looking at the environment, you're in it, you feel it, it's all around you, you can hear it, it's much more immersive.
And you don't have a patient going, that hurts at the end of it.
Let's hope not.
Play computer games for too much of your life and your body will waste away, right? But for Irish people diagnosed with paraplegia, surprising new research is showing that virtual reality may be the key to curing the incurable. The Walk Again project in Brazil uses brain-machine interface therapy, essentially brain training, to help patients with spinal cord injuries who can no longer walk. Virtual reality headgear transports the patient into an immersive environment where they become an avatar, a digital likeness of themselves. The patients imagine walking in a virtual world and even playing in a digital game of football. This training reinserts the representation of using their lower limbs back into the patient's brain, forcing them to create mental images of movement. The more the patients move, the more their bodies use any surviving nerves. To increase the sensory experience, the virtual reality device is attached to a pressure pad on the patient's arm, which delivers the distinct sensation of walking on sand or grass. After this training, the patients move on to using robotic walking gear. And while no patient can yet walk unaided, one has been able to walk using leg braces and crutches, and another has even been able to return to driving her car. Who said playing computer games was bad for you? See you next time.
In this centenary year of the 1916 Rising, I'm here on Mount Street in Dublin to meet with researchers who are using virtual reality to help them understand one of the most famous battles of Easter week. The Battle of Mount Street Bridge was one of the bloodiest of the 1916 Rising. 17 Irish volunteers, led by Lieutenant Michael Malone, held back 1,750 British Army soldiers, causing over 230 casualties. Or so the story goes. Here on Mount Street, a team of experts from the Irish Defence Forces and Maynooth University are gathering data that they hope to use to test this traditional narrative in a more scientific environment. I'm meeting Captain Alan Carney of the Irish Defence Forces to find out more.
It's well documented, the movement of the troops up to this particular point. Now you have to remember, we've tried to corroborate the statements. By all accounts, the shooting starts around here. We have Grace and Malone in this building behind me, opening fire when the troops appear to come to the junction. Now the building is pretty much as it was then, but there were less windows in it.
So we've got approximately 2,000 British soldiers on the way up to this junction and a very small number of Irish soldiers that are in and around this area.
Yes, to hold up that force of people from these positions for that length of time is the achievement, with very little training. They did have the option all the way along to get out, but they fought literally until they'd no ammo left, or the house or building was shot out around them, or everyone around you is dead. So that's remarkable in itself.
Professor Susan Schreibman is a key member of the team who are combining traditional historical research with cutting-edge technology to shed more light on the Battle of Mount Street Bridge.
The project's called Contested Memories, the Battle of Mount Street Bridge, and what we did was recreate a very iconic battle during the Easter Rising in a virtual world. What we wanted to do was reconstruct this street, basically, and the surroundings area, both spatially and temporally. So most of the buildings are still here from 1916. So for those, we did LiDAR scans and built models from them.
So when you say LiDAR scan, it's like creating a 3D blueprint of how the street would have looked at the time.
Yes, that is what it is. It's 3D. You can go into the world and walk around.
So this is a very nice blend of the life sciences and the human sciences, where you're using virtual reality to help a historian really understand more about the battle.
Yes, that's exactly what we do.
To help them build an accurate computer model, Susan and her team are also gathering data on some of the actual weapons used during the battle to assess their accuracy. I'm at the Midlands National Shooting Centre of Ireland to see how they do it.
Here we have the 1871 Mauser. In Irish parlance, it's normally referred to as the Hope Mauser because they were landed primarily at Hope. And in the foreground here we have, this is actually Lieutenant Michael Malone's C96 broom handle Mauser in 7.63mm, and this is the actual gun he used on that day.
Amazing. So both of these guns were used in 1916?
Yes, but of course this particular one, as we know it was Malone's, is essentially a state artefact. Every shot is affected by 4 factors. So you have the gun, the ammunition, the atmospheric conditions, and the firer. So the firer then, of course, is the key component that we're looking at here, and we want to look at reload rates and accuracy, but across a wide range of capabilities. Because some of the volunteers had some experience and were good shots, some had only fired on the first day. If you want to replicate that, you have to run these weapons through a number of different categories of shooter. Okay, you take over the gun, finger off the trigger.
Yeah.
Get into your position. That's it, good position. And then your own time.
Oh, God.
That's it, keep going.
Jesus. Okay.
Very good. There.
Oh my God, look.
Yes.
Cool.
No, that's excellent.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Excellent.
And I'd say that was actually the third or the fourth because I was trying to slow down and align it.
That's very, very good.
All the data collected by the team is eventually used to create the virtual reality program. Ooh. So, Susan, this is actually where I was standing with Alan.
That's right. So we're back at 25 Northumberland Road. The 2 windows on the main building aren't there. They came later. But that small window where some of the fire is coming from, that's where Lieutenant Malone pretty much fired from during the whole battle.
I'm going to try and walk up in my virtual reality. I'm going to walk up this road here where the British soldiers would have gone. There's a lot of gunfire. And I'm going up to the schoolhouse is now on my right, but I don't know what the building ahead of us is.
So that's Clan William House. That was one of the buildings that was totally destroyed during the Rising.
It's really amazing to see Dublin as it would have been in 1916. It is so different. But yes, I think you get a far better picture of what it was like for the soldiers on the day, because if I'm in Clan William House, I can directly see what's coming up down the street.
Absolutely. For those that had the better guns, they were able to shoot at quite a distance down the road.
Their initial findings suggested there might have been fewer British casualties at Mount Street than we previously thought.
The number for the Sherwood Forester casualties is typically taken from General Maxwell's account, which is 234, and was a contemporaneous account. Through the research we've done, we've come to 26 killed and 134 wounded. So that's 160 casualties altogether. Still significant if you think of 17 men.
The project is still in development, but the aim is to have a fully interactive virtual reality model of the battle, including avatars of the Irish volunteers and the British soldiers. It shows the incredible potential of VR technologies to better help us understand such key historic events.
It's not just space, but time that one wants to recreate.
History meets science.
Yes, absolutely.
That's our 10 things to know about virtual reality. And that brings us to the end of this series. So, until next time, thanks for watching.
Look at that disgusting goo.
Oh, wow.
Good cook and a good scientist. I like it.
Oh, no!
That was rubbish.
Burn! Burn!